Something just happened that tech experts thought was impossible. Anthropic released Claude Sonnet 5, a model that costs 80% less than their flagship and is actually smarter on reasoning. For years, expensive meant capable, cheap meant weak, but Sonnet 5 breaks that rule entirely. For companies running AI agents, this changes everything. Agents are AI systems that work independently. They search, they think, they take action without asking permission first. Every action an agent takes costs money. Every search, every decision, every API call adds to the bill. If you're running hundreds of agent tasks daily, costs explode. Powering routine automation requires hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly. That pricing wall meant only massive corporations could afford widespread agents. Sonnet 5 obliterates that wall. Cheaper per task means you can run exponentially more agents for the same budget. But that's not even the best part. Sonnet 5 isn't just cheaper, it's genuinely smarter in the areas that matter most for agents. It was built specifically for this purpose. It thinks more efficiently, it uses tokens better, and that opens possibilities that simply weren't economically viable before. Here's where the story gets interesting. To understand why Sonnet 5 is such a big deal, you need to understand where AI is headed and why cost matters so much. AI systems have evolved in three distinct waves. First came language models like ChatGPT, conversational systems you interact with directly. Then came API-integrated systems, tools you could plug into apps to summarize documents or generate images. Now we're in the third wave, agents. An agent is a system with a goal that figures out how to achieve it independently. You say, book me a flight, and it breaks that into actions: search for flights, compare prices, check your calendar, make the booking. It handles the whole workflow itself. Each step it takes hits your API account and costs money. Here's the brutal economics. A company automating customer service with agents might spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on API calls alone. That makes agent deployment a luxury. Only companies with massive budgets can afford it. Sonnet 5 changes that equation. Cheaper inference means smaller companies can deploy agents. Enterprises can scale agents to millions of tasks annually without costs becoming unsustainable. And that's why this matters so much right now. So how does Anthropic build a model that's both cheaper and smarter? The answer lies in training. Sonnet 5 uses something called reinforcement learning from human feedback, RLHF for short, but they've refined it. They've taught the model to think efficiently about hard problems without using extra tokens. Here's an analogy. When you solve a complex math problem, an expert mathematician skips steps that feel obvious. They focus thinking where it matters. Sonnet 5 works the same way. It uses computation more efficiently. It doesn't waste tokens restating things that are already implied. Sonnet 5 also has a longer context window, meaning it can read more information in one request. That reduces the need to repeat API calls. You send everything once. The model processes it once. That cuts costs immediately. Anthropic has also optimized Sonnet 5 specifically for structured outputs, extracting data or generating JSON. These tasks are common in agent workflows. Doing them efficiently saves tokens. Tokens are how pricing works. Fewer tokens used means a lower bill. The combination of all these optimizations creates something unusual, a model that's genuinely cheaper to run while being smarter in exactly the areas agents need most. It's not a compromise, it's purpose-built. Let's get concrete about what Sonnet 5 actually enables for real companies. Say you run customer support. You deploy a Sonnet 5 agent that reads incoming tickets, searches your knowledge base, drafts responses, and flags tricky cases for humans. A year ago, that cost tens of thousands of dollars per month. With Sonnet 5, it might cost a few thousand or less. You could have an agent monitoring your infrastructure constantly, checking for security issues, generating alerts, preventing outages before they happen. You could build an agent in your Slack that helps engineers debug code faster, asking follow-up questions, suggesting fixes, running searches. You could deploy autonomous R&D agents that run experiments automatically and report results. All of these were economically impossible with expensive models. Now they are practical. And here's the thing, most agent tasks don't actually need a super heavyweight model. They need one that's smart enough to make good decisions, fast enough to respond in real time, and cheap enough that you're not bankrupted by scale. Sonnet 5 does all three perfectly. The real power emerges when you multiply. One agent using Sonnet 5 costs a fraction of what competitors cost. 1,000 agents, 10,000. That's where the economic advantage becomes genuinely transformative. The obvious competitor is OpenAI's GPT-4o Mini, which has dominated the cheap inference market for over a year. GPT-4o Mini is solid. It's the default choice for developers who need something good and affordable. But Sonnet 5 brings two distinct advantages. First, it's actually smarter on reasoning tasks. Benchmarks show Sonnet 5 outperforming GPT-4o Mini on coding, math, and complex decision-making. Those are exactly the skills agents need most. Second, it's cheaper. That combination is rare in AI. Usually you sacrifice capability to get price. With Sonnet 5, you don't. There's also the comparison with Claude Opus, Anthropic's previous flagship. Opus is more powerful overall, but it's expensive and overkill for most agent tasks. Sonnet 5 is the sweet spot. It's also worth noting that Anthropic's safety research is deeply embedded in Sonnet 5. Model is less likely to hallucinate or make bizarre mistakes. That matters a lot when agents run unsupervised. You don't want an agent confidently giving wrong information or deleting the wrong files from your system. Reliability is crucial. So for developers right now, Sonnet 5 becomes the obvious default choice for any agent workload. It's cheaper than Opus, smarter than GPT-4o Mini, and purpose-built for agents. OpenAI and others will respond. But Sonnet 5 just raised the bar significantly. Sonnet 5 represents a fundamental change in how AI systems get deployed at scale. For years, the biggest bottleneck in AI adoption has been cost. A company would want to automate a process, but running an AI system on every customer interaction, every data point, every infrastructure check was prohibitively expensive. AI stayed in the lab or was reserved for high-value use cases only. Sonnet 5 changes that equation. When a model is cheap enough, massive-scale deployment becomes possible. Customer service changes from mostly human to mostly AI. Infrastructure monitoring becomes predictive instead of reactive. Coding assistance becomes real-time and always on. This isn't marginal, it's genuinely transformative. But here's what most people miss. This creates intense competitive pressure on every other AI company. OpenAI needs to respond. Google needs to respond. Meta needs to respond. The winner in the agent economy isn't the one with the biggest model. It's the one with the best model for the dollar. Anthropic just moved that needle forward. Everyone else has to catch up or watch market share erode. That competition is actually great for developers and users. Prices drop. Capabilities improve. The entire industry accelerates. This is exactly what happened when GPU computing went mainstream. Sonnet 5 might be that moment for AI agents. If you're already using Claude, switching to Sonnet 5 for agents is straightforward. The API is identical. Anthropic hasn't changed the function calls or input formats. You just change one parameter, the model ID, from Claude Opus 4-20250514 to Claude Sonnet 5-20260701. That's it. Your code works exactly the same. Most developers using Claude are already on Sonnet 4.6, which is the current workhorse. Switching to Sonnet 5 is just choosing the cheaper option. No retraining, no redesign. If you're using GPT-4o Mini, switching is more involved. You'd need to adapt your code to Anthropic's API format. It's probably a weekend project for most teams. There's also the question, should you switch? For most agent workloads, Sonnet 5 is the obvious choice. You'd only stay on Opus if your specific workload needs Opus's extra power. That's unlikely. Sonnet 5 is purpose-built for agents. It's designed for what agents actually do. The price difference is enormous. Staying on Opus only makes economic sense if Sonnet 5 genuinely can't handle your use case. For most companies, it can. Adoption will be fast. Developers love saving money when the cheaper option is actually better. And once they switch and see real cost savings while maintaining performance, they stay. That's Anthropic's bet. Here's what Sonnet 5 actually means. The era of AI agents being a luxury is ending. They're becoming a baseline technology. Companies that deploy agents effectively will move faster, innovate more, and dominate their markets. Better customer service, better infrastructure, better research and development, all cheaper than before. The race is on, and Anthropic just lowered the barrier to entry. This isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a much bigger change. Every major tech company is watching closely. OpenAI, Google, Meta, they're all building better, cheaper agent infrastructure right now. Competition drives prices down and capabilities up. Brilliant news if you're a developer or startup. Tense if you're a company selling expensive AI. But that's how technology evolves. Something gets cheaper. Something becomes possible that wasn't before. The whole world changes. Sonnet 5 is one of those moments. The infrastructure is better. The price is lower. AI agents aren't a distant future, they are here now. By the end of this year, they'll be everywhere. If you want to stay ahead of this wave, start thinking about what your company could automate with a cheap, intelligent agent, because your competitors probably will be. Follow for daily AI news. We'll keep you updated on how this unfolds.